In this video, we show you how to fully disassembling a DELL Inspiron 3793 for screen replace purpose. Also, you can use in this video as a guidance for how to upgrading, battery replace, or maintenance for this model of the laptop. Laptop screen getting cracked or smashed is quite common. Once the screen is cracked, we can't just repairing the screen panel. The screen panel must be replaced. In earlier generation, like Windows 7 laptop, the replace the screen is quite easy. You can just take out the battery and the bezel of the screen, and then exchange another new replacement screen panel will be okay. But the main thing different after 2020s, the latest laptop, the structure of the laptop is changing a lot actually. The mainly different is the way to disconnect the battery. Whatever you do, even upgrade a laptop or replace the solid state drive, upgrade the memory, the battery must be disconnected. The earlier generation of the laptop, the battery is outside, is viewable. The design of the laptop is allow you to replace and disconnect the battery easily. For latest generation of the laptop, most of them you won't be able to see the battery anymore. And those batteries, they are sealed inside the machine. For upgrading purpose, you need to disassembling the back panel anyway to reach to the internal component area. But for replacing the screen, it takes a lot more time compared to earlier generation. Mainly is the battery. The battery, once the battery connecting inside, the battery will be keep providing the main power to the motherboard, and also the laptop screen, the power connector, power in, is always got some power inside. And the data cable for the image of the screen, those cable, the signal directly from the processor. Actually, it's from the bridge, but now the bridge chipset is built inside the processor now. It will be huge risk when you pull out the screen cable. One side of those screen cable, it takes about 16 volts of the power for powering up the screen. Next to the power cable will be a large amount of the data cable. Those data cable is transfer the screen image from the graphic card to the screen. And inside those data cable, the signal, the binary signal transfer from the graphic card to the screen probably just take about, they are all less than 1 volt. When you take out those cable, sometimes might accidentally a little bit handshake and short the 19 volt into the processor, into the graphic card. It will be burned, completely burn the processor or graphic card. And the graphic card and the processor now, they are all directly soldering into the main board. It's very difficult to replace. And the material, the processor, for the laptop and the graphic card, they are very expensive. So it's not worth to gamble it. If you want to replace a cracked screen by yourself, it's not difficult at all, it's doable. But just keep remember, the battery must be disconnected. To take out the screw for all of those laptops, normally I suggest leave the screen open. The screw on the back panel is not just holding the back panel with the laptop. Those screws also holding the hinge for the screen as well. If you're disassembling those screws and open and close the screen hinge will have less support, and it might causing a screen holder crashing. Leave the laptop screen open after take out all the screws on the base, and then we can try to take out the prime rest without close or open the screen again. When you take out the base, do not force to open the base. If somewhere you feel is so quite tight, you must be check around, see is there any screw is hidden or some screw you forgot to take it out. Sometimes it just feel of the plastic click holding the back panel with the prime rest. If you can't open on one side, try to open on the other area. Slowly and very patient. Take as much time as you can. Those latest generation of the laptop, the motherboard is straight away screwed behind the prime rest. If you hardly force the panel to open, bend the prime rest, the motherboard might be bending as well, and the processor and some of the chipset might start loose from the motherboard and cause a lot of issue. So taking your time, as much time as you want, very calm and very patient. Try a lot of different places to open it and feel where is the click. And then you can using some of the small, tiny pocket knife or some of the plastic click and pry open from the click of the back panel. And also try your best to avoid to making any of the scratch on the case. And after the back panel open, you will see the old component inside the machine. But do not using your hand to touch any of them. The battery must be disconnected in first priority. To disconnect the battery, do not pull on the battery cable. You must be pull out from the socket. On some model of the machine, they might have a click on the battery socket, or sometimes they put a tape on the top to keep the battery, the socket very tight on the motherboard. When you see the tape on the top of the battery socket, those tape must be removed. If you see the click must be unclick, and then you can take out the battery socket. Battery socket, they are very tight. You can using some of the plastic click to try to start pull out from one side of the battery socket. Normally we start pull out from the red cable side. That's the mainly power cable. Pull out a little bit from the right, the red side, and then pull the other side. Over and over again, the battery socket will be coming out. Do not straight away pull from the cable. The cable can't take those energy. If you pull from the cable might coming out or disconnect from the socket. It will take more time to resoldering, or the battery need to replace. After the battery disconnect, now we can try to disassembling the screen. After screen disassembling from the prime rest, you will have a lot more space to open the bezel and have more area to reach to the click of the bezel and open each of them without left any of the scratch. Carefully check every cable from between the screen and the prime rest and the motherboard must be disconnected, and then release the screw from the hinge. Before the last screw release from the hinge, you must be prepared and holding the prime rest very tight to avoid the prime rest falling off and bending the screen or damaging the motherboard. Prime rest must be using two hands to hold it. Do not using just one hand. If those prime rests, they are very heavy. If you just using one hand to holding in one side, the prime rest will be bended, and the motherboard is on the top and it will be bended as well. Now we can start disassembling just the screen. Before you try to open the bezel, you must be check, is there any of the screw on the bezel? Most of the latest laptop, they just using the click or double-sided tape to take the bezel on the screen. Normally we suggest open the screen bezel from the top. On the top it's more slinger, so it's less click, it's more easy to open. If you're struggling to open the bezel when the screen lie down, also you can lift the screen up. You can have more viewable area to see each of the click, and then slowly open them. And then we can start open on both of the side. The button normally we leave it at the end. When you open the button of the bezel, open the end area first, and then open the screen, internal screen area. After bezel, then we can start take out the screen panel. Normally they are just about 4 screws holding the screen panel on the lid. When the screen panel is coming out, do not straight away pull it up. No, the screen cable is underneath of the screen panel. Slowly lift up the screen panel, and you will see the screen cable. All of those screen cable will have a tape it over the socket, and some of them might have a click as well. You just must be unclick the click and take out the screen cable to avoid damaging. Behind the screen panel, you will see the serial number and the model number. We normally suggest replace exactly the same screen panel. You can find them online. Before you put in a new screen panel, the hinge must be checked out. This laptop is built after 2020. It's still covered by the warranty, but while disassembling the screen panel, and directly I found out the hinge holder on the lid, one of the screw holder, the hinge holder, is already cracked and falling off. Not sure what reason. Maybe this the dust falling inside the hinge. The hinge is become very tight. When you try to open and close the screen, the plastic on of the lid is become quite weak. It's bending. What we need to do is recharge the strongness of each of the hinge and re-oil them to make sure every time when you open and close the screen lid, the lid is not bending, and each of the screw holder are strong enough, not falling off. After resetting the strongness of both of the hinge, the both of hinge must be made sure the strongness must be almost exactly the same, or almost the same. And before you put the hinge back, the metal must be checked out. They are all of them. They must be straight, not bending, not twisted. Also, before put back the hinge, each of the hinge screw holder must be checked out. They must be not loose or any of the visible crack on the top. If you see one of them is already cracked and losing, or some of the hinge holder is already has the visible crack, then all of them must be re-tied up to make it more stronger. To repair the damaged hinge holder or making the good one more stronger, normally we're using the AB group and the glass fiber to hold them. And some of the video on the YouTube, they suggest using the goop with the soda. Those method is not, they won't work. They won't holding long. They might just temporary solution for few months. But the way we using is using the AB goop. They normally they dry up after 5 hours. They have enough time to get it inside the fiber. After they dry out, they are a lot more stronger, even a lot more stronger than the original the plastic, and it can be guaranteed few years the same issue it won't coming back. Before install the new screen panel, we suggest the screen panel must be checked out after unpacking. The screen panel they got about 4 screw holder. Each of the screw holder they must be not bending. If you see any of those screw holder, they are bent or twisted by transit, those screen panel must be sending back for the warranty. And some seller might asking you to try to bend them back. We are not suggest to do that. Those screen panel they are very fragile. Without any of the expertise, if you bend those screw holder by hand, the screen might have percentage to crashing. When the screen is crashing, the warranty will be gone. So normally, if you see any of those any area, each of the screw holder and the connection board, the cable connection board is bended or twisted, send the screen back for the warranty straight away. Don't try to sort it out by yourself. After you connecting the screen cable to the panel, also you can put a new tape on the top to avoid the screen the cable loose from the screen. And do not bend the socket of the screen cable. If you bend that, the connection board on the screen might be cause some of the damage. And there are a lot of cable, very tiny cable from the connection board to the screen panel, like this one. If you hardly bend it or twist it, this little ball, the cable might be loose, and it might cause some of the some area of the screen is not display, some funny color. Also, you will see the dead line. They're all caused by those cable loose. So do not twist it. Do not bend this little ball. If you see it, when you're receiving the new screen panel and if you see this board is hardly twisted or hardly bended, send them back straight away. Do not sort it out by yourself. After new panel install, we need to have a quick test to see the function. The new screen panel must be functioning normally. For doing the quick test, if you got any of the traditional mechanical hard drive, those hard drive must be disconnected. During the quick text, we just need to see the color the image is showing correctly. There's no dead line, not that area or some areas so bright. There's no dead pixel, and then we can start put everything back. If you see any of those faults, the screen must be sent back for the warranty. You can't sort it out by yourself. And before we put it back, each of those screen they will have a plastic on the top. Those plastic normally is using to protecting the screen is not scratched by install. Some of those plastic they put it on the screen quite perfectly without any bubble. I will suggest to keep those plastic on as the screen protector. After a while, if those plastic getting dirty or getting a lot of scratch, you can still peel it off from the corner and the screen will look brand new again. And the other thing we need to do before we put the screen back to the prime rest is maintain each of the screw holder as well. You can see the prime rest is just making by a piece of the plastic. They won't holding long. After a while, those the screw holder might cracking like the lid, and this will be using the same method, using the AB group and the fiber to make them all stronger. That will help in the laptop few years. This the hinge holder it won't cracking anymore. After tie out all of the screw, then we can start put back all the cable. The cable must be checking again and again. Make sure all the cable must be connecting properly before you reconnecting the battery. The battery must be connecting at the end. Before we seal the back panel, we need to double check the screen. When you pull up the screen without the back panel, you must be doing it very, very slow. Do not bend the prime rest in case the motherboard get it bent or damaged. You need to do that very, very slowly. And the battery need to connecting at the end. After fully self-diagnostic, all of them getting passed, then we can start put back the case. After making the screen lid and the hinge holder stronger, the finishing of the laptop can be open the screen by one hand, open and close the screen by one hand, without any another hand to hold in the prime rest. Also, the screen can be forward or backward about 60 degrees, the screen not falling off. That will be make sure the screen in next few years time, the hinge holder is not crashing, the screen won't loose. And when you open and close the lid is not bending or twisted. But there must be very strict when you open and close the lid. And in this condition will be maintain the life of the screen new panel. And the final testing will be power on the screen. Testing each of the keyboard must be fully working. Wi-Fi is working, the sound is working, and also the camera is working as well. After all the testing has been passed, everything is working fine, then we can finally clean up the laptop. While cleaning up the laptop, the cleaning foam must be put on the paper or the cloth. Do not directly put it on the laptop. After cleaning, the job will be done. And thank you very much for watching this video. I'm sorry about my English accents. Hope this video can help you. If you got any of the difficulty or any question, can guys leave the message.